What types of things would be make someone say they should go back and look at that again? The game has kind of changed. What kind of symptoms should they have that they should reinvestigate their NDR strategy?
Yeah, I think one of the mistakes people when they look at NDR, and we have to train this with new hires all the time too, is they tend to think NDR is something to detect malware and that's its number one priority. Okay, and I think that's kind of a mistake. I mean, EDR is good at that. Okay,
right,
and it'll always be better than that. But EDR doesn't give you the full picture of what's going on in the network. Okay. It also doesn't give you necessarily what I would call good intelligence too. So like NDR, when you look at it and you think about the older, when this first kicked off, they were looking at anomalies and behaviors and things like that. And that's great. But what you want is something that's going to basically take a lot of contextual traffic, run analytics and AI over the top of. If you're not using analytics and AI today, you're kind of yesterday's technology. So the network's going to look at that AI and analytics, and it's going to be able to make decisions to improve your business, improve your network, and improve your security. And it's going to give you a defense in depth that I can't tell you how many times we've been on in the EDR missed stuff. Or the EDR picked up the malware, another device got compromised, and moved over laterally with creds, and it doesn't see that because it's now legitimate use. So that lateral movement with living off the land tools, that's actually really hard for some things to pick up.
right.
That's where, your EDR is going to catch that stuff, and the C2 every single time where, or your NDR is going to catch that every single time where the EDR may not.
And living off the land seems to be the strategy of choice for a lot of these tools nowadays.
Yes, absolutely.
So I guess the other part that kind of plays together is someone might say, well, I got an application layer firewall that should be able to detect things and figure out what applications are on my network. And then I got the end node here. Do I need that in the middle? And I think we've talked about why you do, but I was just trying to go through a use case where someone might feel like my firewall is looking at the application layers and I've got my end nodes. Obviously there's a big gap in the middle in the campus and things like that need visibility.
Yeah, and I think they're both point products that solve good point solutions. A firewall is a gateway device that its primary thing is to process traffic and allow certain connections in and out, and then you're stacking analysis on top of that. But it's always got to process traffic first, so it can't really run the heavy analytics in AI to do things. So it's excellent at what it does. It can see traffic going in and out, pending you have visibility, but it's also usually not deployed deep in the network like the campus. You're not going to deploy, firewalls all throughout the campus. In fact, in your data center, you're going to deploy it at every layer where you've got switches communicating. No, but if the switch can see that traffic going back and forth, it's going to be a much more cost-effective solution than a firewall when you get deeper in your network. A WAP per se, great at seeing, and detecting those standard, what we call OWASP type attacks, where people are running and trying to attack the app itself, and cross-site scripting, things like that. Great. So you might pick up that or block it through the WAP, but at some point, the WAP's not going to pick up your C2. It's not going to pick up those random strings that we know all bypass a WAP filter and get in. But those connections are still seen over the network. You see when they connect to the device, and you see if they've come off that device lateral or back out through another channel, whereas a WAF hasn't really got that analytic intelligence to figure that out.